Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Or good afternoon to my Midwest people. I am so confused with geography right now. Everything is all over the place. I don't know my west from my east, my north from the south. I'm gonna get it together. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. So I'm jumping on today because it's a big day for me today. We are going to be on the radio, me and some co-authors, talking about our transitions. So a lot of people will ask me questions about what's going on with me. So I'm using these Facebook Lives as opportunity to kind of share what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, that type of thing. So with this actual book, which is called Transition, and it is entitled Transition, Creating the Life That You Desire. It's really focused on individuals who are looking to go from employment to entrepreneurship. People that's just not satisfied with their 9 to 5, that want to do something different. So this book kind of tackles that, but there's so many other things that's going on in life that kind of just all is encompassing of taking that transition. So if you find that you are not happy in your current position, this might be something that you want to check into. I know that it's a great read. And that some lovely ladies came together. Ordinary women just came together discussing what they've been through. And we found that most times people had challenges transitioning because of failure to launch. So with that, we came up with this book. And so we're going to be talking about it a little later on. That's going to be 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so the information is in my profile pic. Feel free to check that out. You have dial-in information and you can get in the conversation. So with transition, a lot of it has to do with releasing limiting beliefs. So when we think of limits, sometimes we think of boundaries, and boundaries are required for everything. For a way of living, you have to have some type of standard, some type of moral code for yourself. In traveling, you have to have some boundaries that's going to usher you safely to your destination. In relationships, you have to have boundaries so that you can interact. But the limits that I'm talking about is not boundaries. The limits I'm talking about are your thoughts, the limits that you put on yourself. What is it that you believe is stopping you from doing the very thing that you want to do, from stopping you from getting to the next level, stopping you from achieving something that you know your burning heart's desire is to do, but for some reason you just can't do it? What are those limits, and how can you remove those limits? That's what I wanted to talk to you about today. So for me personally, I found that some of the limits that I had was that I told myself I just couldn't do it. So I just didn't believe that I was capable of doing the thing that I wanted to do. Other limits came from me finding a reason to stay in the position that I was in. So I might have told myself that I needed the stability, my circumstances was preventing me. I might have told myself that based upon my background or the people that were in my family and what they accomplished, I couldn't accomplish it. And I put limits on myself. But what I want you to think about is these limits are really just thoughts. And it's no way to prove it unless you actually do it. And so the thoughts that you have that go on in your mind, it just builds up like a traffic jam. And so if you think about a traffic jam, you have cars that are pretty much at a standstill, right? They're not moving. And you have a variety of cars, and you have so many that will go past you, and you may never think about the driver, the car, anything. Then there's some you might take notice of. Then there's some right in front of you that might be right in the space you want to get to, or interfering with you being able to proceed forward. It's the same thing with your thoughts. And so when you become more mindful of what you're thinking, then you can be an outside viewer of those thoughts. And you can recognize whether or not those thoughts are useful to you, or if those are thoughts that you need to just let ride past, if those are thoughts that you need to examine a little closer, if those are thoughts that you can remove totally. Hello, thank you for joining. This is something that has been very useful to me. Identifying things that no longer serve me. Asking myself, why do I believe that I can't achieve something? So for instance, I wanted to move. I felt that I couldn't, and I had to ask myself, why can't I? And then when I realized that I could, I had to realize what's holding me from doing it. And so once I was able to see, oh, okay, whatever my thoughts was in the past, that's not true for me anymore. Then I could move myself to the next level, which was believing, and believing that I actually could do it. And so sometimes we think if we believe that we can do something, then we have to see the whole picture and know how to get the picture. Actually, faith is all about seeing and believing that sight when it's not physically evident. So when I knew I could move, I didn't know how I would move. I didn't know how I was going to get there and all of the dynamics that went with it. But I could see myself going. I could see where I was headed to. And that was necessary for me to make my next move. So in order to actually challenge these limits, you have to really think about what it is that you're believing. And then once you can get to the point of belief, then you start to have faith in action. You start to act upon the very things that you want to see. So sometimes we may think that we want something and we might wish on it, but then we have no activity to move forward with it. And so then we stay in the same position, which then starts to drain our energy and our confidence, and starts to lead us to the thoughts of, yeah, I knew I couldn't do it. Yeah, that's not for me. Everybody else can achieve it. Oh, they got something special. They had an added advantage. We tend to do that, and that's not necessary. What we need to do is just take a pause, think about the thoughts that we have, identify those thoughts, find out if they're true for us, and then recognize what we truly want and believe that is possible. That has been very tremendous for me. And some of these things are common to people, but I like to tell everybody, especially those who tell me I'm smart. I might have book knowledge, but common sense did not come common for me. And especially being a young teenage mom who had been through so much, I had to focus my attention on growing up in a responsible way, adulting, but emotionally and psychologically, I really didn't take the time to analyze these things, and I found that it really held me back. And so in order for me to be helpful to others, I've decided to be transparent, because I found that when I've had this conversation with other people, they want to know the questions, they want to have a discussion, but they don't want anybody else to know about it. But I find that it's common amongst everybody to have a desire to know this, because no matter how swift you are, no matter how smart, intellectually focused you are, how many resources you have at your disposal, we all are humans, and we come into these very situations depending upon what life brings us, depending upon the transition that you're in. And we can find that it's true because you can look at all of the celebrities and all of the individuals who have access who still are unhappy and still going through a lot of misery and pain. So these are just conversations that we can have on a daily basis that's going to really help promote us and help us to move to the next step. So I appreciate all of you joining me. I appreciate you allowing me to share. This is a very new process for me. So as I do it, I will get better and grow. It's been very unique, to say the least, to jump on these Facebook Lives. It's not something that's in my wheelhouse by any stretch of the imagination, but it's something that I'm committed to doing and I'm going to continue to do. So if you want to join us for the conversation and hear different perspectives of individuals who decided that they want more and that they weren't going to be satisfied with not getting it, that are ordinary, that's like you, who have the same challenges that you face. No huge marketing plan to capture you through gimmicks, but just a heart-to-heart conversation about how we've been in various situations where we were either forced to make a decision or we decided that enough was enough and we proactively created a plan to make a transition. So you can join us. All of the information is in my profile pic. We will be having the conversation at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I look forward to continuing this journey. I look forward to having a conversation, and I want you to have a wonderful day. It is another beautiful day on the horizon. Wherever your time zone brings you, take a few moments out and find what brings you joy and make sure you make this an enjoyable day. Nice talking to you, and I will join you tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time and 9:30 Pacific. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.